The magical bed. Once upon a time, in a small, quiet town, nestled between rolling hills, there lived a young girl named Lila. Lila was an ordinary 12-year-old with an extraordinary imagination. She loved reading books about faraway lands, mythical creatures, and adventures beyond her wildest dreams. But her life was simple: school, chores, and bedtime by 8 p.m. sharp. One rainy afternoon, while exploring her grandmother's dusty attic, Lila stumbled upon an old, ornate bed. It was unlike anything she had ever seen. The wooden frame was carved with intricate patterns of stars, moons, and swirling galaxies. The mattress was soft, but smelled faintly of lavender and something magical. Her grandmother had always said the bed was special, but Lila never understood why until that night. The first journey. When Lila lay down on the bed that evening, she felt a strange warmth spread through her body. As she closed her eyes, the room seemed to spin gently, and she was enveloped in a soft, golden light. When she opened her eyes again, she wasn't in her room anymore. She was standing in a forest of glowing trees, their leaves shimmering like emeralds under a twilight sky. Fireflies danced around her, and in the distance she heard the soft hum of a melody. A tiny creature with wings, a fairy, appeared and greeted her. "Welcome, Lila," it said. "You've been chosen by the magical bed. Every night you'll visit a new world. But remember, you must return before dawn, or you'll be trapped forever." Lila spent hours exploring the enchanted forest, meeting talking animals, and discovering a hidden waterfall that sparkled like diamonds. But just as the first rays of sunlight peeked over the horizon, she felt the bed's warmth again and woke up in her room, clutching a single glowing leaf as proof of her adventure. The worlds beyond night after night, Lila's bed transported her to incredible worlds. The floating isles, a world of islands suspended in the sky, connected by rainbow bridges. She rode on the back of a giant eagle and helped a group of sky pirates recover their stolen treasure. The Crystal Desert, a vast expanse of glittering sand dunes, where she met a tribe of sand sculptors who could bring their creations to life. Together, they defeated a monstrous sandstorm. The Ocean of Stars, a cosmic sea where constellations swam like fish. Lila sailed on a boat made of starlight and helped a lonely star find its way back to the sky. Each world was more breathtaking than the last, and Lila began to look forward to bedtime more than anything else. But as the days passed, she noticed something strange. She was growing tired during the day, and her adventures felt more real than her ordinary life. The warning. One night, Lila visited a world called the Mirror Realm, where everything was a reflection of her own world, but twisted. There, she met an older version of herself who warned her, "The magical bed is a gift, but it's also a test. If you stay too long in these worlds, you'll forget your real life. You must choose the magic of the bed or the love of your family." Lila was torn. She loved her adventures, but she also missed her parents and her best friend, Mia. That night, she decided to take a break from the bed and spend time in her own world. The final choice. But the bed had one last surprise. On the 7th night, Lila found herself in a world called the Dreamer's Library, a place where every book contained a story waiting to be lived. The librarian, a wise owl, told her, "The magical bed chose you because you have the heart of a dreamer. But dreams are meant to inspire, not replace, reality." Lila realized that her adventures had taught her courage, kindness, and creativity, lessons she could bring back to her own world. She decided to keep the bed, but use it wisely, balancing her magical journeys with her real-life responsibilities. The end. or the beginning. From that day on, Lila continued to visit new worlds, but she always returned before dawn. She shared her stories with Mia, who helped her document their adventures in a journal. Together, they turned their dreams into a book, inspiring others to believe in the magic of imagination. And so, the magical bed remained a secret, a bridge between worlds, and a reminder that the greatest adventures are the ones we bring back to share with those we love.
Lila's life had settled into a rhythm that balanced the ordinary and the extraordinary. By day, she attended school, helped her parents, and spent time with her best friend, Mia. By night, she embarked on magical journeys to worlds beyond imagination. But as the weeks turned into months, Lila began to notice something peculiar. The worlds she visited were changing. The shifting worlds. One night, Lila found herself in a world she had visited before, the floating isles. But something was wrong. The once vibrant islands were now dull and gray, the rainbow bridges crumbling. The sky pirates she had befriended were nowhere to be found. Instead, she encountered a group of shadowy figures who seemed to be draining the color and life from the islands. "Who are you?" Lila demanded, her voice trembling. "We are the Void," one of the figures hissed. "We feed on forgotten dreams and neglected worlds. The more you leave these places behind, the more we consume." Lila felt a pang of guilt. She had been so focused on balancing her two lives that she hadn't considered the impact of her absence on the worlds she visited. Determined to make things right, she vowed to return to each world and restore their magic. The quest to restore magic. Lila's first stop was the enchanted forest, where she had first met the fairy. The forest was still beautiful, but the glow of the trees had dimmed and the fireflies were fewer in number. The fairy appeared, looking weary. "Lila, you've returned," the fairy said, her voice tinged with sadness. "The void has been here too. They feed on the dreams and memories of those who visit but do not stay." "I'm so sorry," Lila said. "I didn't realize my absence would hurt you. How can I help?" The fairy smiled faintly. "You must rekindle the magic by sharing your stories. Tell others about us so we are not forgotten." Lila nodded, understanding. She spent the night in the forest, sharing her adventures with the fairy and the talking animals. By morning, the trees began to glow brighter, and the fireflies returned in greater numbers. The battle in the Crystal Desert. Next, Lila traveled to the Crystal Desert. The once glittering sand dunes were now covered in a thick, dark fog. The sand sculptors were struggling to create anything, their spirits low. "The void has taken our inspiration," one of the sculptors explained. "We cannot create without it." Lila knew what she had to do. She sat down with the sculptors and told them stories of her adventures in other worlds, of the courage and kindness she had witnessed. Slowly, the fog began to lift, and the sand sparkled once more. The sculptors, inspired by her tales, began to create beautiful sculptures that came to life, driving the void away. The Ocean of Stars. In the ocean of stars, Lila found the constellations fading, their light dimming. The lonely star she had once helped was now surrounded by darkness. "The void is consuming our light," the star said. "We need your stories to shine again." Lila spent the night sailing on her starlight boat, recounting her adventures to the constellations. As she spoke, the stars began to glow brighter, their light pushing back the darkness. The void retreated, and the ocean of stars was once again a place of wonder and beauty. The final confrontation. Lila's final journey took her to the mirror realm, where she had first been warned about the void. The older version of herself was waiting, her expression grave. "The void is growing stronger," the older Lila said. "They feed on the forgotten and the neglected. You must confront them directly if you are to save these worlds." Lila nodded, determined. She followed the older Lila to a dark, twisted version of the Dreamer's library. The void had taken root here, their shadowy forms swirling around the books. "You cannot stop us," the void hissed. "We are the consequence of forgotten dreams." "But I remember," Lila said firmly, "and I will make sure others remember too." With that, she began to read from the books, sharing the stories of her adventures. As she spoke, the void began to shrink, their darkness fading. The library was restored and the wise owl appeared, nodding in approval. A new beginning. Lila returned to her own world, her heart full. She knew now that the magical bed was not just a gateway to adventure, but a responsibility. She began to write down her stories, creating a book that she shared with Mia and her classmates. The book became a sensation, inspiring others to dream and imagine. From that day on, Lila continued to visit the magical worlds, but she always made sure to share their stories. The void never returned, and the worlds remained vibrant and alive. And so, Lila's adventures became a bridge between reality and imagination, a reminder that the magic of dreams is meant to be shared. The magical bed remained her secret, a cherished link to the extraordinary and a testament to the power of stories. The end.